It's the second day of Unnamed Spooky Show. Come on, lay it on me. I'm ready. Get out the Draculas. Get out the Frankensteins. The skeletons with a gun in their hands. Oh wait, well, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I'm not too sure about that last one right there.
How about the Watcher in the Woods?
Not the Watcher in the Woods.
Well, I didn't realize you were going to go apeshit.
The Watcher!
Stop it. Get some help.
Okay, maybe I'm slightly exaggerating, but what I do know is this. Do not rent creepy-ass English manor houses, especially if you're an American family with kids. This is a simple rule that the Curtis family fails to abide by in Disney's The Watcher in the Woods, 1980. Though based on the book by Florence Engel Randall, which bears very little resemblance to the film, this is easily one of the better Disney live-action movies of the time, as it is a genuinely scary and well-crafted story, one that will send shivers down the spine of any lover of ghost stories. We're first introduced to Helen and Paul Curtis and their two daughters, Jan and Ellie, who are looking for a nice place to stay while in England, and when shown a wonderfully charming English manor, one that seems to be perfect and an astounding low rent, they decide to take it. Now, before taking possession of the house, they had to get approval from the owner, Mrs. Allwood, and they get it after Jan has a creepy interrogation with the old woman. It seems Mrs. Allwood had a daughter that went missing under tragic circumstances, and Jan may remind the woman of her. Creepy foreboding manor, creepy and eccentric old lady. Neither of these two factors can deter Helen and Paul from such a good deal, but unlike Jan, they didn't see a strange glow in the woods or feel its dark presence. Also, when Jan placed her hand on a bedroom window, it cracked into a triangle fracture, cutting her finger, the first clue to the mystery of the woods. Later, while unpacking, Jan puts up a god-awful tacky mirror, but it's not the golden cherubs that are the most frightening element, oh no. It's the fact that Jan doesn't seem to have a reflection in the mirror. The mirror also then cracks into another triangle fracture, and within the fracture is the image of a girl in a blindfold, her arms reaching out for help, and then the mirror completely shatters and topples to the floor.
What? What the fuck?
Unfortunately for Jan, she's just a young girl in a horror story, so nobody's gonna believe her. Her family aren't really dicks about it though, so they just brush it off as a product of her overactive imagination, which honestly is what most people would do, and the Curtis family do come off as one of the better examples of those found in such horror films. Yeah, I think you just need to avoid mirrors just altogether. More and more disturbing events pile up, so I'll just list some of them. The girls hear whispering in their bedrooms, and Ellie names her new puppy Narek after a voice told her to. We later learn that is Karen spelled backwards, and because Ellie writes it on the dirty window, and it's the name of the missing girl. And also, Jan almost drowns when a flash of blue light in the water spills into its depths, where she is trapped by submerged branches. But luckily, she is saved by the timely intervention of Mrs. Elwood. Creepy forest of horror? Yep. I don't know what you guys expected. We got a horror movie on our hands. It's from Mrs. Allwood that we find out about the night many years ago, the night that when her 17-year-old daughter Karen snuck out of the house to go play with like 3 friends, Mary, Tom Coley, and John Keller, at the ruins of an old chapel during an eclipse. Like I said before, she's 17, so I don't know if she's acting like a fucking child. When Mrs. Allwood arrived at the chapel, lightning struck the old ruins and set everything ablaze, and all the kids managed to escape, all except for Karen, and they searched and searched, but her body was never found. Did they even bother to look in the coffin? More and more mysterious events plague poor Jan and her sister. Strange voices and humming in the woods, premonitions warning of danger, wild winds kicking up out of nowhere, all of it hinging on the disappearance of Karen 30 years ago. It's at this point that Jan goes into like full-on Nancy Drew mode and begins to investigate in earnest. She tracks down the 3 survivors of the night at the chapel, but only hermit Tom Coley gives out key details, such as the fact that Karen had been blindfolded to the chapel to undergo an initiation to join their secret society. Wow, who knew playing weird games during an eclipse at an old chapel can end badly? But during the ritual, a storm blew up during the eclipse, and lightning hit the chapel, and the 3 other kids fled in terror as the chapel was engulfed in flames, leaving poor blindfolded Karen behind. Later, Tom told how he had looked back just as the chapel bell collapsed, where he had last seen Karen standing, but she was no longer there. No one believed Tom, as there was no other way out of the chapel. When Helen Curtis witnesses Ellie in some fugue state as unknown forces channel through her daughter their demands that they find the door before it's too late, she grabs both of her daughters, packs their things, and flees the house. This is a completely reasonable response to seeing your daughter possessed. That's something no one else, sees enough in horror films today. Unfortunately, though, it's too late as the forces of the woods will not let them leave. The car dies on the rickety bridge, and it's only Jan's premonition of danger that gets them out of the car and off the bridge before lightning strikes it.
We just have to cross the bridge. How did this happen? It's been destroyed! There's no way out of here!
Can't you see? Why don't you believe? It won't let us leave. It won't let us leave. Listen to me. Why do your eyes deceive? Finally, believe. It won't let us leave. It won't let us
The next morning, back at the manor, dominoes begin to fall when Ellie reminds Jan that today is the day of the eclipse that, quote-unquote, hardly ever happens, and with that little tidbit added to all the other mysterious events that have occurred, it leads Jan to believe that they must reenact the ritual and to bring back Karen. Jan is able to convince Mary, Tom Coley, and John Keller to come back to the chapel and maybe, just maybe, find out what happened to Karen. Now, this is where things get a bit dodgy, as there are 3 different cuts to the ending of the movie. Originally, when they performed the ritual of the Watcher in the woods manifested in the chapel, and it was a strange alien creature that then grabbed Jan and takes it to another dimension, and this is where we find poor Karen, who had been trapped there, suspended in time for 30 years. And apparently Jan found the TARDIS. Jan walks over to Karen, who is in some kind of light field, grabs her hands, and they are whisked through time and space back to the chapel. We then learn that when these 4 kids did the ritual, it caused an accidental exchange, resulting in Karen being stuck aboard the strange, otherworldly dimensional spacecraft, while the alien was trapped in the woods on Earth. Sadly, critics and audiences laughed at the puppeteered monstrosity, so this ending was greatly trimmed and released a year later with major altercations. Oh God! Where's your pens in the game when you need them?
You remind me of the babe.
What babe?
Babe with the power.
What power?
Power of voodoo.
Voodoo?
You do.
What?
Remind me of the babe.
Quiet! A goblin babe.
Well,
Actually, the stuff aboard the alien craft never even got released, as it looked even goofier than the alien puppet itself, and all audiences originally saw, was the alien appearing, embracing Jan, and then vanishing, and the next Jan reappeared with Karen, and then everyone is reunited for a happy ending. The version that got released a year later, however, is the only one currently available on video, and has Ellie showing up during the ritual and once again being possessed by the Watcher. She/it explains clearly the events that happened 30 years ago, going on about how it was the magnetic pull of the eclipse which caused the dimensional door to open, and Karen and the Watcher to change places, and with but a flash of light, Karen is returned, and Mrs. Allwood shows up out of nowhere and hugs her daughter, and then fade to black. It's a bit of an abrupt ending, to say the least, but it doesn't really give us much closure. None of the endings work completely on their own, but all of them are really fascinating to watch. And this was when Disney really started to make films for a wider audience, as it was released through Buena Vista Distribution, which became their main arm of adult films. You also have to give them credit for being one of the first movies to start in one genre and then shift into another with the explanation of, it was aliens. The Watcher in the Woods 1980 has had only a few DVD releases, the one from Anchor Bay being the best, but there is a good chance your local library may have some version on hand, and it's certainly well worth checking out. Mana Pop gives it a 7.5 out of 10, a decent spooky mystery and one of Disney's best live-action outings. The entire cast is excellent and the movie has some solid chills. Sadly, due to its effects techniques of the time, they weren't quite able to stick the landing. And that was officially day 2 of Unnamed Spooky Show. So far, we've talked about 2 Disney, films. One was DCOM, the other one was just like an adaptation of a book that had like 3 different endings, like I already mentioned before. Next video is a creepypasta. I wanna make it clear that it is a creepypasta because I know that once oh god, there's a mosquito in my room. Hold on. Oh god. Oh. I just killed it. Anyways, what was I saying before? Oh yeah, the next video is a creepypasta reading because if I don't elaborate that it's a creepypasta reading, people are gonna be like, actually, I remember this happening when I went to go see Spider-Man. I know. This creepypasta that I'm reading is based off of an unused ending in Spider-Man 3 because they didn't want to let Sam Raimi be a sadistic bastard. Anyways, I hope you guys will enjoy day 3 of Unnamed Spooky Show. And I know I said I wasn't gonna do regular videos while doing Unnamed Spooky Show. However, I got 2 videos to make because of course I do, because that's my life. So let's have the video right now so that we can get on with that.